What's up, guys? Derek from Team Shift here. We are here with our top 8 UDS Trickstar player. What is your name, sir?
Hey guys, it's Kesavan Kushalnagar here.
Yeah, and so we're just gonna, ask him a few questions, interview him a little bit, see what his thoughts of the event and the future of the format are until spirals come out and destroy us. So we're just gonna start right with his deck list that we have. Yeah, so he played the 3 Gofu, 3 Candina, 3 Licorice, 1 Lilybell, 3 Honest, 3 Ghost Ogre, 3 Ash Blossom, a Maxi, 3 Droll, a lot of hand traps, 2 Instant Fusion, 1 Regeki, 2 Pot of Desires, 3 Terraforming, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Light Stage, and 3 Incarnation. So there's a lot of things here that we're seeing. Let's start with the Triple Honest. Go right through the deck list. Or no, we'll start with Gofu. How did the Gofu,
Yeah.
like, what was the Gofu for? Um, how did you like it? What was the dirtiest thing you did with it all day?
Sure. The Trickster deck, it's a really interesting combination of a bunch of different things in my opinion. It's a huge combo, like advantage generator off the Candinas and the field spell, and then it's a burn deck on top of that with the Licorice, and then it's a really strong like stall engine, I would say, with the Reincarnation, and it's really good at control also with the Reincarnation. But the thing that the deck struggles most with, honestly, is just getting over big things. And so by playing the 3 Gofu, you essentially put out just three monsters that you can then use to link summon with and to synchro summon with into bigger monsters that allow you to actually get over threats. On top of that, if you have a Gofu and they don't have much of a board, you can use that Gofu to establish a ridiculous amount of damage and then try to put them low enough so that Licorice will burn them for game to try anything funny.
All right, nice. So, what would you say about the Trick Stars? Like, are they standard? Like, is this the ratio that most people play, or in different variants? Do they play different number of
I
ratios on the
mean,
Trick
pretty
Stars?
much every single list. Like, I think if you're playing any ratio of tricksters different than what I'm playing here, you're doing it wrong. And this is what I've seen in most lists, where you have 3 Candida, 3 Licorice, 1 Lilybell, three Field Spell, and then the 3 Terraforming. Technically, you don't need exactly 3 Terraforming. I've seen people get away with 2, and I've seen people play set rotations instead of Terraformings. But with set rotation, you risk yourself breaking a lot. Not just because like you draw the Oracle Zephyr or whatever other card you're playing, but also because you might banish something off a Pot of Desires and then make your set rotation dead, and those feel really bad. Also, opening like 3 copies of the field spell isn't even that bad because you can just search 3 copies of Licorice. Um, and a lot of times I would literally just win games because I would go second at like over them so they wouldn't be able to play for their turn. Leave them with a basically open board, and then search 3 Licorice and with a Candina and a couple field spells and attack for game.
All right. What about the Honest? 3 Honest. It just got put back to 3 on the ban list from. It was at 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is light in this deck? You got, I mean, the Ghost Ogres, if you want to normal that. All the Trick Stars.
Right.
Good portion of the
The
extra deck.
Omega.
So yeah, the Omega.
Yeah,
So
that's it for the next deck. Oh, and the lightning, I guess. I don't know if that would ever come up.
honest with the lightning.
That'd be nasty,
After you
dude.
use it the first
I think
time.
lightning applies
Yeah.
after Honest does though,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't work.
Mhm.
Okay, but with Honest, at first I actually totally underestimated the card. I thought it was just like I'll play it at 2 and see what happens. But then after I played it more, I realized the card is absolutely nuts. Because like what I was saying earlier, the deck really struggles at getting over big monsters. And if you put your opponent at low enough life points with a Licorice up, it really hinders their plays. And if with a Reincarnation, you can just straight up game them. And so a lot of times, the Honest is just there to like put in a massive amount of damage. It's great for bluffing because if you just bring back a guy and put in attack mode, your opponent might just straight up not attack into it because you can bluff an Honest in hand, and that's always fun. Um, Saying damage calc is a great way to force your opponent to use extra cards that they don't need to.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other thing about Honest, first off, it has 1900 defense, which is surprisingly relevant. in the mirror match, you can just set it, and then they actually just can't get over an honest without using like say another honest. Or
Another
using a Gofu
honest.
combo. Sorry.
Using another honest to get over here.
Yeah, it's super lame. I played a mirror match round 4, and my opening was set 2 set honest, and he plays set 2 set honest. I mean, I don't know what he set, but I was guaranteed. I was almost guaranteed it was honest. And then my turn, I flip summon honest, bounce it back to hand, and use it for twin twisters.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, using the bounce effect on honest is surprisingly relevant too. I use that to poke for 1100 damage, prevent the lickers from getting run over because they know about honest in hand. That was fun. And it also acts as an out to masterpiece. So honest plus Candina is usually a way you can just straight up out masterpiece, because you go normal summon Candina, search licorice, and if you don't already have a licorice in hand, then they can technically pop the Candina there, and then that's over. But if you do have the licorice in hand, then you bounce the Candina, normal summon it, and then attack over the masterpiece with the honest.
Yeah. So I completely did not realize that honest. I thought honest was like the spirit effect, like during the end phase, like it bounces. I didn't even realize that it was just like you can return it to your hand.
Yeah, during the main phase and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the card is actually nuts. I was surprised at how relevant the bouncing to hand effect was.
Yeah.
It's kind of bricky occasionally. Only in that like you could technically be playing like other combo cards with it, because it doesn't really start combos by itself.
Yeah.
But I think the card is way too good in just like being able to put a ton of damage out to the point where there's no reason not to play 3 of it. Like I would legitimately play like 10 of it if I could, because you can just gain people so fast with that card.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and clear off monsters that you otherwise would not be able to get over.
Exactly.
All right, so let's move on to the hand traps. So we are looking at 10 hand traps in this deck. A fourth of your main deck was hand traps.
I would honestly consider the honest to be hand traps as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so 13 hand traps. So
and along with the 2 lands using the side, and I think I'm going to bump that up to 3.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the deck. So there was 2 ways I could see building the deck, and one was like trying to make it go first and playing like strikes and warnings, and I believe that's what Michael State ended up doing. But I thought that I didn't really care about winning the die roll that badly, and honestly, like hand chops is ridiculously strong this format.
Oh yeah.
And so my logic is I don't want to have to get over a big monster. Sorry, the best way to get over a big monster is to prevent it from coming out. And so versus like for instance True Draco, if you can Ash or Ogre their key play, or especially Drone Lock, their boards are so much weaker and so much easier for you to get over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that you're usually fine. And so I'd rather not main deck outs to Masterpiece. I'd rather main deck outs to the deck that summons Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Or to the card that gets the Masterpiece out. And so that's what the Ashes and the Ogres were in for. I would have honestly rather have played 2 Ogre, but there's really no other card that I could think of that would be as good as Ogre. Going first or second. And I really wish I could have played something else, but I couldn't, because like it's pretty bad versus Pendulum. And it's good versus Draco because you can hit the diagram, but overall, like I wish it was a better card, but I can't figure out what to replace it with.
Yeah. And then the Ashes, I mean, 3 Ash. Pretty much, I think every deck list I've seen from this UDS was playing 3 Ash in the main, with like a couple of them siding it, and with them being like, I should have played it in the main.
Right. No, the Ash is ridiculous, this format, because it hits every single deck and it hits them hard. You just Ash the Pendulum Source. What's it called? Not Pendulum Sorcerer.
The Joker.
Joker, thank you. You Ash Joker. You don't end their turn obviously, but they don't get the freaking trap card, and this deck loses the Pendulum trap card hard.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the clearing the field thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like if they're smart, they know how to use it properly. It's really hard to outplay that thing.
Yeah.
And then Maxi, I was actually back and forth between maining it and siding it. But I ended up deciding to main it because I saw that there was a lot more Pendulum Magicians at the start of day 1 than I expected. So I just put it in the main deck last second, and it won me 1 match against Pendulum because he won die roll, but I opened Maxi, so he had to stop the Astrograph.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, if I didn't open that Maxi, I think I would have been done for.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. He won the die roll, so I'm not too mad about that.
You won the match, right?
Yeah, I won the match.
Oh yeah.
That was round 10. I think. No, round 9. That was round 9. The guy was really good. I think he ended up topping. That was Taylor Mock. Yeah, Taylor Mock. Good guy. I think he must have won out from there. That was crazy. I think Droll Mockbird is an insane card this format. Not just because of the freaking reincarnation combo that I did, which I can explain now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the reincarnation combo. Yeah, just tell people what it is. I think people already know, pretty much, but
Yeah. So how it works is Droll Lock says if you could discard it at resolution of a card's. But it's an it just checks that whenever you do chains, it checks that the last thing that occurred was the search of a card. So if they do say terraforming and search a card, what you can do is then activate Trickstar Reincarnation, which would usually banish their entire hand and then draw a bunch of cards. And then as Chainlink 3 you would activate, or Chainlink 2 you would activate Droll and Lock. And so now the reincarnation will resolve as much as possible and banish the entire hand, but it won't let them draw cards because Droll and Lock prevents them from adding cards from deck to hand for the rest of the turn. You have to make sure that you do the chain link properly and don't do Droll and Lock first, because then the reincarnation resolves properly, then the Droll and Lock resolves, and you're just like, what did I just do?
yeah, and then you're an idiot, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing with the Droll and Lock is you have to make sure. No, I forget. Whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, I know you were saying before the event that with the Droll and Lock and reincarnations and like so many things to be able to search the reincarnations, like you were guaranteed like 14% of games you would just win automatically from the hand lock.
Right.
So
like yeah, you can calculate out the odds. Droll and Lock, you have like about I think it was like a 20% chance maybe of opening it.
Yeah.
And then opening a Candina or a field spell or a light
terraforming.
stage, yeah, or the terraforming, or the reincarnation hard draw that, or and removing cards out for Pot of Desires, you can end up with about a 10% chance.
Yeah. So just like 20.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying like 20% chance to like guarantee a win is worth playing.
You can guarantee. It's not really guarantee a win though. If the other player is smart and they have the right kind of hand, the way you should really play against tricksters, if you don't mind me spoiling it now, is that if you see that they have any set cards, you should always set as many of your cards as possible before doing any searching.
Yeah.
Because every card that you have set is one more card that can't get banished off reincarnation. That said, if they have 2 reincarnations, then they can use double reincarnation and Droll and Lock. But I ended up not like I didn't do that at all today, because even when I had 2 reincarnations Droll, because I didn't want it to get ashed. And so if they get the search off first and they ash the first reincarnation, you can still use the second one. But if they started like setting cards, I would just blow the reincarnations immediately. But luckily the players I played against in that one case was bad.
Yeah. We can move.
And I wanted to mention, Droll's also just a phenomenal card in general. Like even without the reincarnation combo, whenever you go for a second against Pendulum Magician, it's really tough to do anything really, because that trap card just gets in the way of all of your plays.
Yeah.
And so having Droll prevents you can just Droll the first thing they do, and they can't gain a ridiculous amount of advantage, like searching Harmonizing Magician, searching Pendulum Sorcerer, etc. And most importantly, they can't use Double Iris to search the trap card. And Double Iris is probably the scariest card. Not Double Iris. The trap card is the scariest card in the deck, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I always, yeah.
Like that, playing the trap and then like getting rid of something and then just wiping something off the board. Like it's definitely.
Right. I mean, they get the advantage off the trap too, so they just keep on plussing. If you don't remove that immediately, you lose.
We'll move on to the instant fusions. I mean, I think this is something I haven't seen this in any Trickstar decks yet. So why did you choose to play instant fusion?
So when I was going through and looking through OCG lists to try, not even OCG lists, just different Trickstar lists to try and figure out what to play, I saw one build that ended up winning the Singapore YOT, I think. And so he was playing a Link build of Trickstar, which I really wanted to try out. But we didn't have like a rank 4 spam build of Trickstar actually. With Hero Challenger, Assault Blades, and Photon Thrashers. And I honestly would have played that version instead, but we don't have Exciton. They have Exciton, which is why it was so much better.
Yeah.
Because you can clear fields going second. And so, but he played instant fusions. And so what I was originally doing before this was playing 3 Eater of Millions and 3 Scapegoats. But those cards were performing pretty subpar. Not like amazingly subpar. Like you could still do some crazy plays with them. But overall, I feel like I had lost more games by opening them than won more games. And so I was trying to figure out a card that I could replace them with that also gave me big monsters and didn't use my normal summon, which is what those cards were good for. And so I looked at that list and I was like, oh, Instant Fusion. And Instant Fusion is great because you make the ship monster Theseus, Dark Fire Dragon, or depending on the you toolbox out of them, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Oh, actually, the other list that was using Instant Fusion was actually the 8-3 list that they played at YCS Rimini. It seemed like a really good player. The list that he played was really impressive, especially considering that it was in Zoo format. And so I think that was actually the list that I started with when I was playtesting this deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's.
Did you want me to talk about like how I use Instant Fusion and stuff too?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Talk about.
So, the card was actually like, even though it was like a cool tech choice and all, I don't think it was like the greatest card all weekend. I definitely like cited it out pretty much every game 2 and 3 for the most part, but it did win me. Like I saw it maybe like 4 times over the weekend, not as much as I thought it would, and it won me 2 games for sure. I might have won them in other ways, but probably not. And those games I won because I did Tornado Dragon against a Pendulum player when he had I think like 1 card left in hand. And so I popped his scales, forcing him to search another one, and then I did Trickstar Reincarnation combo to get rid of the rest of hand. So that was nice, for sure. And then the other time I won is because I was playing versus a Draco player, and he had a Masterpiece up, but he had no spells engraved. So I figured as long as I can get 1 out, I can win. And then I had a Candina in hand already, and then I top decked the Instant Fusion, and so I went Candina, Instant Fusion, Lightning Game.
Yeah. Yeah. So just very toolboxy, pretty much.
$2 for
Yeah.
sure, yeah. The Restrict, unfortunately, never came up. I wanted it to come up. But like the decks I played against, it just wasn't good versus.
Yeah.
And I think the card becomes even better when we get Link Haribo, but like as of right now, like I want Thousand Eyes to be good, but it's really just like it was kind of subpar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Instant Fusion, like it was a cool tech and all, but there's definitely like I feel like there's got to be better cards you can play. I don't think Eater of Millions or Scapegoat are better cards.
Yeah.
Because you just can't use them turn 1 or turn 2. Like you gotta wait until all the way until turn 3 or 4, whatever, to use Scapegoat.
Yeah.
And you have to wait. And like Eater of Millions by itself, like banishing face down's cool and all, but that's not actually that good against most cards in this meta. So I don't know. It was just subpar.
Yeah. Putting an Upstart Goblin.
I was considering Upstart, but then you also have to recognize this is a bird deck.
Yeah.
So
giving them 1,000 life points does not.
I was trying Contract with Dawn Thousand, which says like we both draw a card and lose 1,000 life points. But we both draw a card, and with what was this like 13 hand traps mained, I figured my goal was to try and make them have as few cards as possible to deal with the board, not as many cards. So I cut that almost immediately after testing it.
Yep. Good points.
Yep.
Regeki, I mean, it's Regeki. Like, blow up some boards.
I actually did side it out a lot of games, mostly versus Pendulum going first and going Draco going first as well.
Pot of Desires, 2 of them, not 3.
Never side that out. If you side that out, you're stupid.
Yeah. Well, in this deck, like, there's nothing that you're afraid of banishing, really, is there?
I mean, they're like banishing. I banished Lilybell like every other, and that actually nearly lost me games. I don't know I can't remember if it actually lost me games. But banishing the Lilybell hurts a lot. But you really don't want to run more than 1 Lilybell because opening it sucks.
Yeah.
You have to search to get its effect off. And also banishing Licorice hurts a little bit, and banishing 2 hurts quite a bit, and banishing all 3 basically means you lose the game. Same thing with Candy. Which is why you have to use the search cards before that. But you usually have search cards, and the odds that you chance banish all 3 of either of them isn't too high.
Yeah.
But everything else in the deck you can just banish. You have no idea what it was.
3 terraforming, search the field spell, play 6
Yep.
of it. Triple Cosmic Cyclone. Did you originally plan to play Triple Cosmic Cyclone before you saw what people were playing?
No, I actually didn't play any at the start. But when I was testing on Dueling Book a lot, and what I noticed was I kept on losing to the freaking Pendulum trap card, and I lost to uh, the freaking what was trap card that the Dracos play that summons. Um, and I lost to Skill Drain, and I would lose to Monarch's Erupt, and I got really mad at that. And so I ended up just maining 3. Figure out how to squeeze in 3 Cosmic Cyclones because the card is just so much better than
Oh, yeah.
like Twin Twisters right now, especially versus Pendulum Magician. And going first, the card's still phenomenal because you just said it. And like if they Cosmic your Cosmic, great. They start with 5 cards instead of 6, and at 7,000 life points, which is super relevant. And then if they don't Cosmic your Cosmic, you can Cosmic one of their plays because everything right now plays spells and traps, and a lot of things like that trigger Engrave. So it's never dead. Like that's another card that I would definitely like. If I could, I would probably play like 5 of it.
Cosmic.
Cosmic,
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
it's actually nuts this format.
The field spell, 3 of it.
Oh, card's nuts. Using the Backrow effect is super relevant. I thought this deck would have an awful Pally matchup, but after thinking about it more, I didn't actually play any Pally today.
Yeah.
Yesterday. But after thinking about it more, because of that Backrow effect, I did win games. Like I targeted strikes with it, and if my Candina ever got struck, I would probably lose. That's one of the weaknesses of this deck is that the monsters are so small, and you rely on that normal summon pretty heavily. And so if it gets struck in or if it gets warninged, it really hurts.
Yeah.
But the field spell basically negates that weakness.
And then triple Reincarnation. We already kind of talked about what Reincarnation.
The card's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Banishing their hand and drawing is amazing, but knowing when to use it is really, really difficult. In that, like, because whenever you activate it, you're always picking between, like, you have to read their hand and figure out, do they have a good hand right now? Or are they baiting me into using the Reincarnation so that because they have a bad hand right now and they're trying to draw into a good hand? And a lot of times the correct answer is banish something that they search, and hope to God that they don't draw into something else that's relevant. And that's better against some decks and worse against others. It's amazing against Draco because they like search Masterpiece and then you banish the Masterpiece they draw into a use a spell and trap card and they have to pass the turn. But it's awful against like Pendulum Magicians because sure you banish their scales, but they just search more scales. So a lot of times it's only good just to get the trap card out of their hand.
And then we'll move on to we'll go through the
extra. Mind if I talk about the Grave Effect of Reincarnation as well?
Oh yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah, the Grave Effect is the other super duper part. A lot of times you want to, if you you have to block OTKs and kills from it with this deck because everything's so small. It usually would be really easy to OTK. And so using the Reincarnation when they attack the Licorice is super useful. That you banish their hand, draw another hand. The Licorice dies, and then they try to attack for game. You just bring back the Licorice, and now they don't kill you. And then next turn you can just get a lot of advantage and hopefully win that turn. Lily Bell clears up games super easily, which is why banishing it off of Desire sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think you should play more than one still.
Yeah, because drawing it is just complete brick. So.
Right.
And we'll go on to the extra deck. We kind of already talked about the fusion monsters, the Thousand Eyes, Theseus, and Darkfire. Right. Darkfire, yeah.
Darkfire.
The instant fusion targets allow you to go into the deeper parts of your extra deck. Right. So we'll go down. Acid Golem. I saw that you, in one of your feature matches, made Acid Golem. I think it was against a Masterpiece, wasn't it?
No, it was versus I think it was a Trapeze Magician. And like I said earlier, like this deck has a really hard time getting over big things. And one of the scariest threats that I was really scared of this weekend was losing to a Saki Crystal Wing. And so I needed as many outs to Crystal Wing as possible, but a lot of your regular outs to Crystal Wing aren't outs to Crystal Wing because everything gets negated. But one of the things you can do is use Reincarnation and or just like 2 or 3 Licorices to special summon themselves, and then overlay them into an Acid Golem, and you can crash with the indestructible Crystal Wing to get rid of it. and it gets rid of the acid golem too, so you can special summon it again. And then on top of that, it's a huge monster, which means it'll deal a lot of damage fast. Not as fast as the Licorices if they have an open board, but forcing them to get over a big monster is surprisingly relevant sometimes, especially when you've removed all the other cards with your hand traps and back row. During that feature, I summoned the 2 Licorices, overlaid into Acid Golem, because if I didn't remove that Trapeze Magician that turn, he most likely would have just killed me next turn. Because of how Pendulum plays.
Oh yeah, being able to just summon everything back. Not as bad as it used to be though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if the deck could pen 5 like it did before, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, they would not have unbanned Wavering Eyes in certain cards.
For sure. I do think, after seeing the results of this weekend, I feel like unbanning Wavering Eyes might be a little bit too strong. And seeing Wavering Eyes in the mirror match terrified me, and that's part of the reason why I didn't play Pendulum Magician, because I didn't want to have to deal with Wavering Eyes.
You didn't want to get Wavering Eyes for 4?
No, that feels so bad.
It feels so good though, like...
Although, yeah?
Yeah, doing it to somebody else, like, playing in the Cleave format for so long, people being like, ha, Wavering Eyes, and I'm like, ooh, Wavering Eyes you back for 4? Like, just, it was the greatest feeling.
And it's even more interesting in this format because you have Ash now. You can negate the Wavering Eyes with Ash instead of Damage Juggler. But even so, it's just
Oh yeah, can you negate? Hold on, can you negate Wavering Eyes if it doesn't have 2 on the field? No, you can.
No,
okay,
you
yep.
can negate because it includes the effect.
Yeah, that's why Ash. I mean, Damage Juggler was just instant out because it has to inflict 500.
Right.
So you could just Damage Juggler it no matter what. But all right.
Right. Actually, speaking of Ash interactions, one of the plays that you can do versus this deck that a lot of people probably didn't know about. I don't think it came up for me, although people were doing it, expecting it to happen. Was you can Ash the Trickstar Reincarnation, even though it's banishing your own, like banishing, like I'm activating it, and that's because it says it just has to be a card that adds cards from any person to any person's hand, doesn't matter whose hand. And so it's super important that if you see the Trickstar Reincarnation your turn and they have any cards in their hand, that you Ash that Reincarnation because they could have the draw in the hand, and if they have the draw, you lose. Yeah. So back to the extra deck.
Yeah. Tornado Dragon. I pinned every single deck was playing the 3 XYZs that you were. Other than the Acid Golem, the Tornado and the Utopia, the Lightning and Utopia. Just very good cards. Destroying Backrow. Destroying Masterpiece in the Utopia. Getting over big monsters.
I actually wasn't playing Utopia or Lightning until very close to right before the event, when I ended up cutting Scapegoats because the cards just were so. Actually, it was after Scapegoats. Actually, it was I think it was like maybe an hour before the event, and I just figured like I didn't need a lot of the link launches that I was looking at because I never really went into them. And I decided to just throw in a Lightning because I wanted more rank 4s with this Darkfire Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
And usually the deck won't be able to go into a rank 4 if you don't play the Instant Fusion Darkfire target. But now with that Darkfire, you get to actually do things.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like, making the Utopia, getting over different things. Tornado Dragon, yeah. It's just it's just an overall great card that people should be playing. Exactly. And every single deck was. I mean, the Pendulums were obviously playing it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little more difficult to fit Lightning into like more link-focused builds, though.
Yeah.
Which is why I like this build, in that it's a little more versatile even in the extra deck. And that, yes, the link-focused builds do have, not equivalents to Lightning, but ways to remove cards that Lightning wouldn't in Ninjarisu. But overall, Lightning's still just such a strong card versus True Draco that links aren't.
What did you think about Beals? You made it with what? One of the Ash Ghost Ogre and
no, you have to do the only way you can make this deck is with Gofu plus Licorice.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane. Because like they're forced to pop the Gofu immediately, or they just kind of lose. That said, Beals was pretty awful over this weekend for me. Although I would still play it again.
Yeah.
The only issue was like every time I had the true Draco player would have the out, and I only played, I don't know, 2 odd Draco players over the weekend. I only tested basically against True Draco, ironically enough, and so the main deck is basically built to beat True Draco, especially, except for that Maxi, of course. But that was what I was thinking of mostly when I was playing when I was trying to build this deck. And so that's why I had the Beals in there. But the Beals is actually not very good against True Draco because they actually have a lot of outs in their Stormfort, Skill Drain, Monarch's Rupt. Depending on the event they're using, they can also use like Makaba, and if they're using an interesting combo, they can force the effect to activate and then remove it. Yeah, and because they deep draw so hard, they almost always see all those kind of cards.
Yeah. Omega. Everyone was playing that this weekend too. Like it was like the first turn plays for a lot of decks.
Right. And the thing about, I feel like this format, it's not like Zoo format where you just get insane pluses off of one card. And so by removing one card from their hand, you're either removing like a Cosmic Cyclone that prevents them from removing your card that's going to prevent them from playing the game, or it's going to remove an actual combo piece. And a lot of times if you remove, like, for instance, like they're only one scale, if they're playing Pendulum, for instance, they can't play the game for that turn.
Yeah.
And yeah, just doing things like that with Omega was amazing. Do you want me to talk about the interesting Omega interaction?
Sure.
So if you Omega, like Sphincter Summon Omega, you're always doing that basically with either Gofu plus Licorice or the Institution for Theseus and Licorice. And if you have a Trickster Reincarnation in Graveyard, which you can search off of Candina, you can use the Reincarnation, bring back the Licorice during their standby phase, and then use the Omega and immediately return that Reincarnation back to grave, so that you have essentially a once per turn Licorice that's coming onto the board.
Yeah.
And is going to be burning them for a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean that's lit actually.
Yeah, and the Omega almost never leaves the field, or never. Well, actually, this format he dies really fast, but in theory he's not supposed to die really fast.
What do people kill him with usually? Ghost Ogre?
Usually, if it's just not stupid with Masterpiece, you just don't have a chance to tag it out before
Yeah.
you just get destroyed. So it's like Masterpiece, Dragon Buster was an issue. Using the damage step effect of Violet Poison was a huge problem for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of Fast Omega. But it was cool when I used it.
And then the Link Monsters, played 6 Link Monsters. Decode Talker, making it with Gofu, I assume, is what you did mostly.
Yeah, it came up, I think, like 3 times, and it won me all those games. Amazing card. I totally underestimated it.
Yeah. Mrs. Radiant, made with the Link Spiders. I assume that's with Gofu as well.
Correct.
Gofu just making different Link Monsters is essentially what people are playing in with now.
Exactly.
Proxy Dragon with Gofu as well, but also you can make him with the Trickstars this time if you really wanted to.
Correct.
And then Ninjutsu. I heard in your deck profile you said that this wasn't the best. Why did you play this?
He was a little bit better in testing. Now that I remember, I do recall using it, I think, against a Pendulum player to remove their trap card, and using it against a Draco player when they had no spells and traps and graves to remove their Masterpiece. And it has those like interesting niche applications. And so with your, and also does 2500 attack, which is cool. So with your 1-card Gofu, if you for some reason can't get another monster on board, this is slightly larger than the Decode Talker.
Yeah.
And you go link 1 token for a Link Spider, and then link the Gofu and the other token for the Proxy Dragon, and then link them both for Ninjutsu. And then Ninjutsu says it's a non-targeting, like it's a once per turn you send 1 card from both players' sides of the field to the graveyard, which is non-targeting and non-destruction removal.
Yeah. I mean that's actually great.
So, in theory, amazing card. There's not really that much you can send to the grave in this deck. One time in testing, I did. Actually, I don't know. I think it might have been during the round. I went Ninjutsu effect. They had no response, and then I changed Reincarnation to banish their hand, and then just sent it to the graveyard with a Ninjutsu to prevent myself from actually losing the card. So that was pretty cool. I don't remember if I won that game or not. I think I did.
Probably.
Probably. I won that game.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the extra deck. Side deck. Lancias. Played 2 Lancias for ABC and Infernoids? Question mark? No, you played them
It
for.
was ABC, Infernoid, and Cosmos.
Yeah. Were there a lot of Cosmo players there?
There was I played one round one. My buddy played one in the later rounds at some point. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's enough.
Yeah.
They're probably about as represented as frogs, but not as little as Trickstar.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lancia, I mean, a great card. Another hand trap, like we were talking about
Yeah, it was
earlier.
phenomenal all weekend. If you I would use it in Sam My Face sometimes, just to prevent them from even activating a Pot of Desires.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it was interesting. But and overall, I would definitely play it again. If versus Invoked, especially if they go the fusion spell and they have an Alistair on field or whatever, you can go use Lancia, and then if they can fusion summon from the hand, they have to, and then it's a really bad polymerization, and they don't
Yeah.
get to banish the Alistair and recycle.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't have targets, then you get to look at their hand. They lose the fusion spell anyways, and they probably won't be able to get it back at any point.
Yeah, that was always like the best thing playing Mind Crush, like mind crushing things, because then if like when during Necros format, like mind crushing the monster that you knew they were gonna summon, then like looking at their hand and knowing exactly what they had to do that turn, like it was just
Exactly.
like the looking at the hand is just such a huge bonus in this game that.
Exactly, especially this format
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of the cards are in the hand and it's not really easy to read exactly what's happening.
Yeah. 3 system down. For Cosmo and ABC again, just banishing their guys off the field.
I knew we didn't play any, and then I looked around in the competition like right before the event started, and I was like, oh my god, there's so much ABC and Cosmos. I slammed all 3 of these in and took out some bad cards.
Yeah.
I didn't see it all day though.
Dark Hole, back at 1. R.I.P. Dark Hole.
Yeah, I thought this card was gonna be amazing. The card was not very good, like because like yes, the deck has a hard time getting over things, but there's so little to side out for Dark Hole, and there's so many cards in the side deck that you can are just so much better against the matchups where you even want the Dark Hole. So overall, I didn't actually like playing the Dark Hole that much.
What do you thought about Triple Twin Twister? Did you ever side these in like with the Cosmic Cyclones for like a ton of back row destruction?
Yes, all the time. Versus the Pendulum deck, you have an extremely difficult time versus that trap card. So I would side in 2 versus the Pendulum deck. Just because like if you let that trap card resolve, you lose without a doubt. So yeah, I had to play. I think I might have played MSTs instead because Tricksters have nothing you want to send to the graveyard.
Yeah.
And even versus Pendulum, like popping 2 scales is cool and all, but so many of their scales trigger off of things that a lot of the times it's just not very useful. And setting the Twin Twisters can really hurt a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Necro Valley. What did you think about it?
Well, so I was originally playing it. I thought I was gonna hit Draco with it, but then I thought about it more, and I was like, I don't want to play a card and get popped immediately by a spell card, so I stopped doing that. I thought I was gonna play it versus Invoke, but then I was like, Invoke's gonna be playing Draco, and the Draco's just gonna pop with the spell card. I was thinking about playing against Pure Invoked, and I probably would have honestly, but then I realized that you just fusion from the field, and it does the same thing anyways. I thought about playing it versus ABC, but then I was like, they can still. I mean, like, yeah, they can't banish from graveyard anymore, but you have to search it out and you have to replace your light stage and stuff. And I'd rather just have cards that actually stop their play outright than have to play this thing and get a Cosmic Cyclone or whatever, or Tornado Dragon. I think it was actually scared of the Tornado Dragon on the Necro Valley. So the only matchups left that I was actually going to side it in for was Paleo, and I never saw Paleo today.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great card for Paleo. And having the 3 terraformings just makes it live so much more.
Yeah, having 3 terraforming means that you can. I was actually playing a Zombie World in the extra deck as well, but I ended up cutting that for the 3rd system down because my Draco matchup was just that phenomenally good. I was like 14-0 in testing against that deck. I'm not really sure how. I think it's just like the deck is just so good at stopping Draco plays and being able to play through them.
Yeah. And not really caring about like certain things that the deck does.
Exactly.
Unending Nightmare. I think this card is going to see a lot more play as of right now because of the Pendulum deck that's sweeping the nation.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this card's just great. Like
Exactly. The I only saw it once today versus the Pendulum player. It did win me the game. I think it was versus Taylor. And I had Unending and Rick. I forget. Unending and I think something else. Oh, Warning or something. I don't know. But he wasn't able to deal with the Unending Nightmare. And then I just popped all of his scales. It was great. No joke. It was unfortunate for him, of course, because like there's really not much you can do as Pendulum if you're playing against this card or anti-spell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's great, and I had this over anti-spell because I thought I was going to side it in versus Draco, or against rogue decks. And what I found out is it's not very good versus Draco, even when you go first, because you'd rather like popping Diagram is like it's all right, but you have so many ways to pop Diagram with the Ghost Ogres and stuff. Anyways, that's not a big deal. And popping the spell and trap cards is straight 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So,
and you paid 1,000 life points for it.
Right.
And
So I think in retrospect, I probably should have just played anti-spells instead, and I definitely should have sided more for the magician matchup, but that's okay.
yeah. I mean, I didn't think like if somebody had told me that it would have won, I would have been a little skeptical. Like the deck was extremely powerful, but there was just so much room for people to just play whatever and pull out wins with this event.
I mean, I agree. That said, before the event actually started, I actually they not interviewed me. They had me fill out a questionnaire, and they said, "What deck do you think is going to win the event?" And I said, Magician. Even though I was playing Trickstar, and my reasoning for that was like, the deck is just so versatile, and it's such a high ceiling that like yes. Sometimes you get walled up by the spell and trap cards, and you're just gonna lose. But overall, like you have the deck is able to outplay pretty much all side cards for the most part. And if you know what you're doing, you should be able to do really well with the deck.
The thing that I think that's really good about the deck is they literally have 2 cards that search pretty much anything in the deck. Like Duelist Alliance and Joker, you're like, oh, these are literally just search your deck for a card, essentially. Because every single card in the deck is either a Magician or a Pendulum monster. Like,
right. And then they just go +1/+1/+1, which is why it's so key that you stop their first play. Because, yes, you could play, like, Gamma Seals or Twin Twisters or whatever to try and out their board. But I'd much rather have to deal with a 2-card board with only like with my actual Trickster engine, and then have to deal with like a 6-card board with my Trickster engine and a Gamma Seal.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. Yeah. Solemn Warning.
Standard. Yep, it's just a good card.
Yeah, good.
Sided against Draco, siding versus Pendulum. You're gonna go first. Siding against anything when you go first, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Scolding. Kind of probably the same thing, right? Going first.
Yeah, I thought the card was going to perform a lot better. I just didn't see it a lot today. I Scolding the Brilliant Fusion. That was basically the only time I saw the card. And I lost versus Jeff when I said Twin Twister with the Scolding, and he ganked me. But, oh well. That was unfortunate.
So, side note, Cameron just texted us and said that in Jonathan Moore's newest video, he talks about you a lot.
Ooh, cool.
Apparently. So I'll have to go watch that after this.
That's
see what he says, yeah. Probably he'll talk about your cape or something in the video.
A lot of people are commenting on that. I actually do enjoy that specific manga that it's from. Yes, it's super weedy. Yes, it's a really trashy manga. And yes, it's super trashy that I was wearing it. But it was a good luck charm from when I wore it the first time, so I'm not going to stop wearing that thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same, like, I wear the hockey jersey because, like...
Exactly.
It's like good luck.
Everyone's got to have your good luck charm. Something that makes you feel good whenever you enter an event and know that, like, yes, I still have something with my back on it.
Yep. So, it was like an hour of us talking about your deck, so... We'll try to speed it up a little bit, talking about the rest of your stuff. quickly, like, what were your matchups? Like, what did you play against? Were there any, like, famous players that you played against? And then what was, like, the general sides for those decks that you decided to play? Or, like, that you played against?
Yeah, so my first 5 rounds were versus things I wasn't expecting to play against at all. It was like Cosmo Trickstar, not Cosmo, Cosmo Draco, Invoked Wind Witch, 60 card Spiral, which is super interesting, the Trickster Mirror Match, and I don't even know, Zephyra. It was Zephyr Drew Draco for that matter, Zephyr Metal Poetry Draco. And they were all like super weird decks, but they were things that I'd seen before, and I at least kind of knew how to play around them. They were similar to other. I figured out a way to like beat them all. The 60 card Spiral was terrifying, but he just opened subpar on both games, and I ashed his only play, so it was great.
Rip him.
Yeah, right. And then after that, it was all meta. So it was a pure Draco or pure demise Draco. I think it was Charles. He ended up 10th in Swiss or something. And then I played Taylor Smith. I think no, that's not his name. Some Travis Smith.
Yeah, Travis.
From the UDS team. Yeah. Smashed him. I mean, I think he played it out well, but it was just unfortunate that I had the Droll combo and he didn't.
Yeah.
Really. And then. Round 8 was a feature match versus Richard Waddle, I think his name is. Really nice guy. I love playing against him, but it was unfortunate. I had the Droll combo that time as well, and that was a feature match as well. And then I banished his entire hand. He couldn't do anything game 1, and then game 3 I clutched it out. Round 10 I played against Taylor Mock. Oh, and Richard Waddle topped. Taylor Mock I played against. He was also playing Pendulum. I didn't hand loop him, but. I did hand loop him actually, but it was like 4 turns in before I hand looped him, and then he couldn't play. He had a pretty subpar hand both games, and it was just unfortunate for him again. But he ended up topping at the end, so props to him. And then I played against Jeff Jones. This time he didn't open subpar. I didn't win the die roll, and I didn't open Maxi or Droll Lock. So, oh well, lost to Jeff Jones.
Yep.
And then round 11 I played Elvis Vu. Nice guy and all. It was just he was playing ABC, and if you just negate enough plays in that deck, they can't do anything. And so he actually ended up winning game 1, and then game 2 I think he just I negated both of his plays, and he couldn't make a strong enough board. Passed, and then I killed him. And then game 3 basically the same kind of thing happened. And then. Round 12 I played against Demise Draco, and it was like a super grindy game. We ended up tying the thing, and then that was fine. And then the top cut, I played against Isala, playing Pendulum Magicians, and just got destroyed. Basically the same thing happened to Jeff. Like he just had a playable hand and I didn't.
Is that it? Are those your matchups?
Those were matchups, yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Not really. I mean, we kind of talked about like different siding and stuff for different decks while going through the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, you were doing really well. Like the feature matches that you like. I mean, like I was reading, it seemed like you had a pretty good grasp of what was going on. I loved reading like the couple times that you like Droll locked, Reincarnation locked them. Like that was just hilarious. Like,
oh, it was nasty.
And having
I think I got that maybe like 4 or 5 times in the event. Most of them not on turn 1 either, which is really interesting. But it was really funny. I apologized to all my opponents afterwards. I was like, I hate that this combo's in the game, but I have to.
Yeah. And I love how you know how they write the feature matches? Like it's like he leaving him with no hand. He immediately concedes like they know that it's just like their opponents are just like, yeah, fuck this, and then like quit after realizing. Or there was one time he did it turn 1. He like terraforming did it, and then he was like, you attacked him or something, and then he was like, he drew his next card and immediately conceded. Like that's just like how you want to feel playing this game. Like, yes, like my opponent knows that he's just gonna lose, so he immediately concedes. Like, and have
Exactly.
them write it that way too.
That guy made a serious. I mean, he was a really nice guy. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
There was a serious misplay in that he didn't immediately swoop when he got draw unlock comboed.
Yeah.
Um, and so I saw his banished Cosmos and knew that I had to side in my Lancia. So
Oh, yeah.
beating him going second.
So like right when you get is that what you should do when they show the reincarnation? You should
If
just
you
scoop.
have no cards versus a Trickstar
Yeah.
deck, and if you don't think for some reason that you can top deck Demise and go straight back into the game,
Hmm.
you're not winning because
Yeah.
they'll put out with a single Candina, like 4,000 damage and then another 400 when you draw, and then if they have another if they have Lily Bell like any other combo, it's probably game. The deck is like it puts out damage. Stop it.
Hmm. Yeah. What else? What other questions do I have? We went over a lot of these, like the card choices and stuff during the deck profile.
Yeah.
How do you? Okay, so this is a good one. How do you beat this deck? Like, what can players do? What can players play? Like, is there any one card out that just shuts down this deck?
So that's something I thought about going into the event. Like, what should I think about people siding in? And I honestly have no idea what sided in versus.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's really not like at least the build that I'm playing. It's super versatile and can play around so many different things that there's nothing that really walls the deck out besides having a big monster.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways that the deck can even get over a big monster anyways. Like, if the deck can out Masterpiece, it can basically out anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And so it's just like super difficult to wall out this deck completely. That said, you should definitely side out Ghost Ogres, side in Ashes if you're not maining them, side in Draw Unlocks, and side in anything that'll let you get huge monsters. Also, probably wise to side in Backrow removal for the end phase, get rid of the Reincarnation like Cosmic Cyclone,
Mm-hmm.
and try to kill them as fast as possible, basically, because they're trying to kill you as fast as possible. You want to make this a quick game.
Yeah.
I think I went into time maybe like twice the entire time. The deck was surprisingly fast. I don't think I was even close to going into time most of the time.
Yeah.
But I hear it's supposed to be brutal in time. The other variants like Burn, Wind Witch are a lot easier to play around because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
And like for the Wind Witch variant, you decide in Kaijus, and for the Burn variant, you decide in like Hanewata or something. I don't know, or Twin Twisters, and they just lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for this one, it's really difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that definitely.
Mm-hmm.
How did you prepare for the event? I know
Actually, I want to talk a little bit more. The way that you have to stop the deck entirely, though, is really just stopping as many of the field spells and the Candinas from resolving as possible, because those are the cards that are giving you a plus.
Yeah.
And they're like normal something Candina is a +2, I think. Essentially, that's going to start cycling itself next turn if you don't stop that up too. But Solemn Strike and Warning and stuff aren't super good by themselves because of the field spell that can just shut them down immediately. I would still say side it in if you can, because if they don't field spell, then they're boned.
Anything else? How to beat the deck?
How to beat the deck? It's really tough, honestly. Like, make sure you have the Ashes for the Reincarnations if you can. Just play smart. You have to make sure you calculate out damage, everything in advance. Know that the deck can kill you at any time, basically, and keep an eye out for Lilybell, I guess. Like, it's super funky. Doing hard reads on their back row and on their knowing when they're actually bluffing honest is really difficult to figure out, but it's possible. And if you can figure it out, it makes the matchup so much better.
All right, we'll move on. How did you prepare for the event? So, like, you said that you looked up a bunch of deck profiles, and tested with different people in the hotel room. But was there anything like, I mean, you only had a few days to kind of think of a deck. So, what did you do within that time period?
The list came out Monday. I tried. I think I did like one game with Pendulum, one game with Draco, and then one game with Trickstar. And then I was like, this deck is a lot of fun, and it won. So I'm gonna play this one. And the other thing was, what I noticed is this deck was one of the only decks that had a top during during Zoo format that didn't get hit and actually got buffed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured like this is probably the deck one of the decks that I just gotta play. Paleo was extremely overhyped in my opinion with Miss Starboy.
Yep.
I love Paleo. Don't get me wrong. My other my invites and stuff are all with Paleo. But in Link format, it like Miss Starboy doesn't really help the deck enough. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pendulum deck, I wanted to play Pendulum, but I don't think I'm good enough as a player to actually like clutch it out all the way to top 8 with Pendulum.
Yeah.
Because it's a really tough mirror match, and it's really tough to play both versus and playing with the deck.
Mm-hmm.
So props to Jeff for winning the entire event with it.
Yeah. Did he ever lose, or did he?
Sorry.
He never lost, right? He tied once.
No, he won every single game, and then he just immediately conceded the last round, because he knew he was going to top anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after he beat me, he was guaranteed to top.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he was probably guaranteed to top anyways, even if he lost versus me and the next 2 people.
Yeah.
But he just wanted to clutch it or make sure.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, props to him and all. And then, but yeah, so I saw all those decks and I saw Trickstar and I was like, this deck is pretty good. And I feel like another thing I noticed about the thing is like it was good, but no one was really preparing for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like going into this format where like everything's super hectic, no one would have like no one would be able to prepare for all these different decks, and they wouldn't be able to prepare versus Trickstar. And if you don't know what you're doing versus Trickstar, it becomes a really difficult matchup because there's so many unknown cards in the matchup, especially with all the different variants running around. People thinking that's a one-trick pony on a burn deck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the other thing that I was doing was I was looking at OCG result, and I looked over like the last like 5 weeks to see because our current format's kind of similar to the old OCG format right before Spirals hit, and they got a huge ban list with Danglong Band or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking through, and of all the decks that were in there, the only ones that were topping that weren't hit on our list were basically Magicians and Trickstars, and I think I want to say ABC as well, but with different kind of build. And so I figured like those are the 3 decks that I'm gonna want to try and beat and play against. And with Trickstars, it was just like it's a great deck, and I just don't think people are prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think of anything. Oh yeah, how to prepare for the event. So after that, I basically just played a lot of games online, and constantly changing up the build, constantly trying out every single kind of variant to figure out which one I really wanted to stick with.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I see it, there's like maybe 4 odd variants of Trickstars. There's like this version, which just plays like straight Trickstar and a lot of hand traps, and Gofus. And then you've got the Link Trickstars, which is what Michael State was playing, with Scapegoats and All Eating. Or I don't think he was playing Eater of Millions, but you can play that as well. With a huge Link extra deck. And then there's the Burn variant, which just tries to sack you by doing 8,000 damage before you get to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one's really bad if you want to play it at a large tournament, because you have to somehow make it through 12 rounds of Swiss, winning every single die roll, or not getting interrupted somehow when you try to kill them.
Yeah.
And then there's the Wind Witch variant, which is the other one that I was kind of considering playing if I couldn't get a Beal sometime. And that one's basically this one, but you swap out the Gofus, the Instant Fusions, and a Cyclone or something for the Trickster or for the Wind Witch engine. But when I was playing it, it's got a really bad interaction with Demise, and it's really subpar going second, and really subpar versus hand traps and interruptions. And it bricks really badly too if you open the glass bells or the snow bells. And at least with this deck, I really enjoyed the fact that pretty much all day, every single hand was basically playable, unless I opened like double Ghost Ogre essentially. Everything else is essentially like I'm pretty much guaranteed to draw a playable hand with this deck.
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, I'm just saying yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think people over the weekend, everyone was really surprised at how consistent the build was. And I think that's just because I cut a lot of the bad cards and kept it like as consistent as possible, like with 3 terraforming, 3 field spell, and no like crazy combo extenders and stuff. It was like, I mean, I guess Gofu is a combo extender, but it's also like a consistency card in a sense because it makes Omega and lets you not die. Actually, that doesn't make sense. But I mean, my point being, like, it makes bodies. Unlike Scapegoat, where you have to wait an entire turn, and you can get Cyclone and stuff. I feel like Scapegoat's too much of it. Like, it's too slow and too much of an extender for it to be amazing this format. But I mean, Michael Say is still managed today too, so props to him. Yeah, it's just like it was kind of funky. No, and so I was testing all those different variants out for figuring out the UDS. I settled on something kind of similar to this before Friday, like on Thursday. I tested a lot with with a friend Justin Cheney, pretty much for like 6 hours, just like trying out different cards, figuring out like what was good, what was bad, and ended up just cutting out like the Eater of Millions, the Scapegoats at that time, swap for things that would actually matter, and yeah, and just like making sure that my main deck wasn't complete garbage, basically. He still disagreed on the instant fusions, but that's whatever. I wish I could have swapped the instant fusions for something, but I legitimately just don't know what's better for this deck because there's not really any more hand traps I can name.
Yeah.
That are amazing right now.
Skullmeister.
Skullmeister versus Pendulum, like it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Thursday testing, and then on Friday, I went in. I played quite a few matches versus Griffin and Manavdawar. And those matches helped me a lot because it helped me figure out that Ring Destruction is cool. And
you were playing Ring?
And the cards sorry?
You were playing Ring?
I was playing Ring before, yeah. Because in theory, you would think, like, oh, it's a deck, and it removes threats. That must be amazing. But as a trap card in this deck, I don't think trap cards are actually a very good choice in this deck, strangely enough.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to play going second. Like, this deck has such a hard time going second that every card needs to be live when you go second. And that's, I mean, honestly, like, I lost so many die rolls today and yesterday, and I won a lot of the games going second because of the hand traps and because everything was just built to be able to deal with boards going second. And if I went first, the hand traps are phenomenal because I have a board, and they're not going to be able to play through everything. Yeah, so it was great. But yeah, so on Friday, I learned a lot about like just matchup stuff with the Draco. That's when I decided to put in system downs because my teammate Carl was telling me, oh, ABC is broken. That's when I put in the Necro Valley because I was thinking of Helio. I was thinking of all these different matchups that I hadn't thought of before. I was looking through my binder and I saw Scolding. I was like, why not throw that in? That sounds fun. I don't know. A lot of changes happened that last night, but it was playtesting versus really good players that I feel like helped a ridiculous amount going into the next day. I'm feeling a lot more confident because I won a lot of those games. And I'm realizing like Trickstar is an amazing deck going into the event.
I think we'll wrap it up with one last very important question. So there was the warped cards incident. Why don't you just tell people about what happened?
Oh, it was crazy. So I got deck checked round 11, I believe. Yeah, round 11. Versus Elvis Vu. We had a good chat, and then they came back. They're like, "This is all good," and they were like, "Great, we played. I won, whatever." And then I go to top 8, and they do a courtesy deck check before top 8 at UDS and during top 16 of YCS to make sure that everything's in order and that there's no future complications going on. And I got a deck check before, so I was like, okay, this should be fine. But they come back and they tell me that my entire Trickstar core is warped, along with a couple other cards. And I'm like, what? And they're like, okay, you have, first off, because there's so many cards that are warped, we're going to have to give you a game loss. And then on top of that, you have 10 minutes to go and find and replace all these cards, otherwise we're going to give you another game loss. And I was like, what? And so I'm about to go do that. Then a judge comes over and he tells me, actually, no, you don't have a game loss because these cards are only warped, and this is a courtesy deck check, not an actual deck check. So you don't have to get, you shouldn't be game loss for this. So we're going to revoke that game loss. And I was like, okay, fine. Then I have to run around for 10 minutes. I grab Michael State's deck, try to present that. Thanks, shout out to him for letting me grab the deck for a little bit. But apparently he was playing all foreign cards, and so his cards were warped as well, even though he got deck checked. They said it was too warped for me to play it. So I had to return those to him. I found a different guy, submitted those. He said those were too warped. I ran to a different guy, submitted those cards. He finally said those ones were fine, but I still have to get another like 5 side deck cards. So I ran around trying to find side deck cards. Had to buy some Scoldings from a vendor. Finally presented everything, and he said, "You're all these cards are good, but you're 15 seconds over the time, so you're gonna get a game loss." And then I was about to start playing my game, like during signing and stuff, and the head judge comes over again and tells me, well, because it was 20 cards and this is during a courtesy deck check, we don't think it was fair that you were forced to replace 20 cards in 10 minutes because 10 minutes is not sufficient time to be able to replace that amount of cards. So we're going to remove that game loss again. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm super stressed out and it was crazy. And then I lose the die roll and I open subpar and I lose to Isala.
Yeah, so basically it's Konami being fucking idiots, so...
I mean, I wouldn't even blame it on Konami being idiots. It was just some like poor communication and really, really strict judging. The thing I was most mad about, honestly, was the packs and the fact that the cards are warped out of the pack essentially. The new foiling, like as cool as it is, I've like especially a lot of the newer cards have been are really easy to warp compared to older cards. I think it's because it's the entire card being foiled rather than just like a. And yeah, that and like Euro Prince, of course, are always warped. But I wasn't playing Euro Prince; I was playing regular Prince, American Prince. So I was really surprised by the whole incident. It was super crazy. I'm glad it didn't affect my gameplay at least. But it only didn't affect it because Isala opened well and I opened really badly both games.
Yep. At least you didn't get a match loss and get DQ'd. That would be the worst, because then you're like, would I have done well? Like, would I have been able to win? But
right. Like, I mean, I wasn't even confident going into Isala. Like, the Pendulum matchups I won earlier today, like, yes, I'd won them fair and square and everything, but I still feel like the deck has a really bad Pendulum matchup actually, and I didn't prepare enough against the deck, main deck or side deck wise. So I was pretty confident I was gonna lose to Isala. Yeah, and I did. I lost the die roll, and it was from there basically. If he had any real plays, like he basically just win his Pendulum.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that was all the questions I have. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I enjoyed the event overall. I was really surprised at how well I did. Honestly, I went into the event thinking as much as I prepared and stuff. I just went into the event thinking all right, if I can just play a few games and have fun, I can go and enter side events and have a great time there. And I just kept on winning, and I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of water, ate all my food and stuff. Talked to friends, had a good time, chilled between rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the most important, the key takeaway for me really was honestly that you need to stay calm when you play, and you gotta whenever you have a card that's live again, like hand traps wise, blow it immediately. There's no reason waiting on a lot of things. I don't know. It's really tricky sometimes, but
see, I feel that's such a weird concept, because usually, if you watch pro players and really good players, they sit there with cards and wait for threats. But with hand traps, it's kind of the opposite, where the first card, since you don't know what they're going to be doing, the first card kind of is the threat. And you have to shotgun it, and then they could be diagram, okay, Ghost Ogre it. And then they could either not have a diagram, or they could just be diagram again. So you never really know what it's gonna be. Right. But it's completely different.
Diagramming the first time and diagram the second time is gonna be the same result anyways.
Yeah.
So you might as well just diagram the first one.
Exactly. But then it comes down to if you have a masterpiece out and your opponent was stacking a giant creature that or stacking a giant zoo monster that was going to be able to out it, you don't instantly pop the first thing, because then they shuffle Reborn or whatever. So you sit there and wait, and then they go into battle phase, then you kill it.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of times when you have to know exactly when the right time to use. It's a little easier nowadays, honestly. If you just play it on the first thing that they do.
Yeah.
But it also depends on your deck. With magicians especially, knowing when to use the trap card is super key. And the other thing that scared me is you don't use that at the right time, they're gonna wipe your board and kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like mentality wise, it was like I think I learned a lot this tournament from that, and just meeting a lot of really cool players was also really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think another huge thing was like talking to players after the matches and asking, did I misplay? Can I improve my plays? Is there anything I can do to improve sighting? I learned a lot from Jeff. That was great. But yeah, it was a good tournament overall. I
Mm-hmm.
hope it can improve later, and keep this record up. Do well at other tournaments.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got the mat. Got the
Oh, the
pins.
mats.
Got a
Yeah,
prize card. I didn't realize you got a prize card.
Dark End Dragon, right?
Yep. Do you have it with you? Is it right next to you?
I have it. It's not right next to me. It's like across the room from me. It's great. It
Mm-hmm.
was It's interesting because it's like in a world sleeve inside of the Konami.
Yeah, the
card
hard
protector.
case. Yep.
Yeah, which
That's
is cool.
that's
I
lit.
don't know. What I'm gonna
How
probably
much?
sell it.
Hold on. Let's see how much they're going for.
200, I think.
Dark End Dragon,
Like
right?
the cheapest prize card, as far as I know.
That's probably why they gave it to you. So what is it? No, it's Ultra, right? Ultra or Super?
Ultra.
There is no Super one. The Ultra Rare is going for on TCG. It's like 250.
Right, but TCG is always like a little bit more anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. You won like $1,000 worth of stuff essentially.
Yeah, basically.
If only you won the belt. Having the belt in Team Shift would have been lit. Like
Oh, for sure.
I would have taken pictures with that belt. Like
I would have worn that to every event I went to. I would have worn that to
at locals. Like you're going to
like,
locals,
wherever
you
I
just
went.
like
Oh my god.
yeah, you just break that thing on. Like
Nah, Jeff deserved that belt though. I was
Yeah.
gonna take that from him.
yeah, he's played enough. So
Yeah. He
Un-
played it out well.
unlike
He
Billy
was,
Breakdown, Billy
probably
Breakdown.
played, I mean, I asked him. He played a lot before the event and tested a lot.
Really?
So props to him. Yeah. It was like it wasn't like nonstop testing, but it was just a lot of like test hands, thinking of all these different cards you could play and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see his deck list. I'm ready to see his list, and I'm ready to see Calvin's, because I want to play Calvin's list.
Calvin's list is gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't actually like look over to figure out what the hell he was like any spicy text or whatever, but he looked like he was doing really well.
I mean, he's played ABC for like ever, so he's got to know what he's doing.
I think he was actually X2 going into day 2, and he just managed to win all 3 rounds, I guess,
Yeah.
or win 3 rounds, and I think he won all 4 actually. Wow, props to him.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm gonna go to bed, so
Sounds great.
we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much. I mean, I think this is great. Having like big discussions like this, really look at successful players and why they do certain things and what their card choices were. I think people really like that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Let us know in the comment section like what you guys think of this kind of thing. If we can ask like better questions,
Yeah.
or any other questions you can answer. I can pop by the comment section and answer any questions you guys have
Yeah.
about the deck, how to improve it, etc., etc.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Kesavan. We'll see
No
you at
problem.
the next event. Hopefully, winning one soon.
Going to Dallas. I'm not gonna try and win it. I'm just gonna try and I'm gonna start small. Try and at least get to round 6.
Yeah. Round 6.
Round 6.
Yeah.
I was like this event. I was like, all right, round 4. That's what I want to get to. Win one game. Like this is UDS. Like I was legitimately not expecting to play against, like not get far because like there's so many good players. Like
Oh yeah. I mean, that's all it is. It's like 200 well-known players.
right. Like top 32 was stacked. Oh my lord.
Also, question. So
Yeah.
it kept saying in the articles that they were posting, the players redeemed their points. Do you lose? Like, did you lose your 100 points and you have to like start over? You did. Okay, so you lose the
I
points.
spent 150 points to enter the event and get a medal.
Get
but
a
you
medal?
another 10 points back, so you have a little bit of a head start for the next year.
Yeah.
And then I think if you go day 2, you get another 20 points or something like that. And then if you top cut, you get another 30 points on top of that. So
So you're looking at like 60 already.
yeah, I'm starting off with like 60 points on the event already.
Oh, nice.
and I had 20 points left over from last year too. So like if I get like one more invite, I'm basically in UDS.
Yeah. So they give points out for locals too, or something, right?
No,
No, it's
it's
just major. It's just
there's
regionals.
UDS qualifier events.
Yeah.
If you enter those, I believe you get 10 points, and if you win them, you get 30 points or 40 points.
Mhm.
But you don't just get them for locals. No, you have to do that, and then you also get them for you get 5 points for participating in like small events, 10 points for larger events, and 15 points for getting invites and anything. Well, actually, it's 5 points for getting the invite and 10 points for actually filling out the paperwork properly. Because I think they just want people to fill out the freaking work with paperwork properly.
All right.
But yeah, it's a really hard event to get into, honestly. Actually, not really hard. I wouldn't say that.
It's harder than nationals.
Harder
That's
than
for
nationals
sure.
for sure. The caliber of players I was playing against like ramped up super fast.
Yeah.
After round 2, I would say it was just like non-stop good players. I mean, even like rounds 1 and 2, it was still like decent players. It was just like the kind of players you ought to actually find at local.
Unlike Nats, where you play against like loser scrubs that got their invites in like top 64 invite brackets, like.
Exactly. Like, and I loved everyone I played against, honestly. Like, everyone today and yesterday were super nice.
Yep.
Great people. Enjoyed talking to them and everything. It was a good time. But, right, like, it's like a super prestigious event. I can't believe I actually made it this far.
Yeah.
I was surprised I made it, like, even, like, going into, like, round 6, I was like, how the heck am I 4-1? This is
like,
awesome.
looking at, like, the leaderboards, like there's like people that have been to like worlds and like national winners like way below you on the list, like.
Right, like Roland Fang didn't even day 2.
Yeah, I know Aaron Furman was like top. I mean, he day 2'd, but he like was way down there on the list.
Exactly. Yeah, he tied Manav. Oh my lord, it was crazy. I don't know how the man managed to get X1 by the end of the day. I thought I was playing against baddies too. Like the worst of my bubble.
Yeah.
And then I figured out like later, like, oh my lord, like all these people are topping events before I was even playing the game. Like, jeez. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely going back next year. Like, this event was so much fun.
All right, sweet. I think that's how we'll end it. So yeah, a final thank you and team shift out.
All right. See ya.